we're back, and this should be like the final wrap-up episode of these enemies. So what we want to do in this one is we want to give them damage, and we want to make sure that they can get hurt from our bullets and swords, and that we can get hurt from theirs. So this shouldn't be too hard, but let's go ahead and go into the alien blueprint, or your enemy blueprint. And there's one thing: on attack player on site and add to HUD, at the end of that, right after set behavior mode, we should actually call the behavior mode function again. So call the behavior unit. And that way, like I said last time, we'll get them moving and reacting a little bit better. Next thing is we want to get damage on their bullets. So let's go ahead and get to the enemy bullet. So third person, I think it's in blueprints and bullets and enemy laser. So never mind this code. This is something that I was working on. I'll show y'all this later. It's not hooked up though. But anyways, in the enemy laser, there should be a box, right? And this box, we should extend it so that it's the whole length of the laser. So I'm gonna extend mine in the X a little bit. Okay, cool. Now we want to add, so when this box overlaps the player, we want it to give damage to the player. So go into the event graph, and while that box is selected, on the right hand side, scroll all the way down, and on component begin overlap. Okay, the other actor is the third person character, because that's who you want it to overlap. Now, what you want to do is get their health and bring it down. So remember, we set their health up in the game mode. So when this overlaps the third person character, do once. So hold O. So we want this only one time when it overlaps to give them damage. So off of the third person, we can say game mode ref. Get, I think there's a game mode reference. Get game, yeah, there we go. Get game mode reference. Because from there, we're going to pull off the variables that we want to subtract. So from here, we'll say get health, get current health. And then we'll subtract something from it. So minus or subtract. And this is how much the bullet will do to our character. So the damage I want to say is a good 25%. I want to do 50% to make the stakes bad. Alright, so if the bullet overlaps the character, get the current health and minus 50. Then we need to set the current health. So set current health to whatever that may be. Once, so it's casted the player, and it's going to do this once. It's going to set the current health to negative 50. Now we need to check and see if the player is dead. So let's say get this current health right here. Or this one actually, and we'll say less than or equal to 0. If that is true, by putting a branch, hold B and left click. If that is true, then we want to set this current health. So game mode reference, set current health to 0. And when that happens, we need to, there's something that happens in our player that happens when their health gets to 0. So let's go to our third person character and let's look at what happens. On destroy actor, it's going to do all of these things. So we can say destroy actor. current health is at 0, and drag off your third person character, and we're going to say destroy actor. Perfect. That way, the enemy laser is going to take off, let's see, what do we say? 50 points of our damage, I mean, our health. And that should be good. We can tweak it, but for now, it says every time it overlaps the player, it's going to take off 50% of their, or 50 of their health. Let's test it out. Love testing. Oh, yeah, it works. Beautiful. Everything works perfect. So that's what I wanted to show you in that regard. Now we need to be able to damage the player. So it's not going to be that hard at all. So first thing we'll do is we'll get our pickups folder, or should be like our weapons or whatever, wherever that may be. I think it's in pickups. Ice sword. Let's drag one of these out here. It's so big. Pause. Right? What? Put it right here, and then put your gun out there as well, because we're about to use both of these. So the gun pick up right, no, not the enemy gun, it's the gun BP, this one, and make that small as well. Remember, it doesn't really matter how big they are here, because when we pick them up, they'll disappear and go on our backs. So the first thing, we're not going to work with both of them at the same time, but we will work with the gun first, and then we'll move on and work with the sword. Sword will be a little different than the gun. So let's go ahead and work on the gun. So the way that we'll do that is we'll put the damage on the bullets. So go to your bullets, third person, blueprints, bullets. And on our regular laser this time, we've already got some code here. And it's saying on component begin overlap, and it's talking about the red barrel. And that's cool, we can explode the barrel with the gun. But what else do we want to do? After, like on the sequence on den 1, let's cast to our alien. Yeah. So our alien BP, if we cast to that and plug that into the other actor as well, then we can write some more code for what happens when the bullet overlaps. So if it overlaps the alien, we want to, as the alien, get current health. Same kind of code. Basically, how much do we want to take off? Let's say 25. So minus 25. And after that, you want to set their current health. So set current health. Right there to here. Okay. So now their health is set to minus 25. Then we need to do the branch check. So come over here, drag this down a little bit. So after this, we need to do a branch, and we need to see if this health is less than or equal to 0. And if it is, then what we will do is we will kill off the AI. So if this health is less than blah blah blah, we're going to set dead from the AI. So alien set dead to true. And lastly, what we will do is destroy the actor. So drag off your alien and say destroy actor. Boom. Compile. Save. So basically, it's going to just take off 25 of their health until they're dead. That's the laser. Let's test that out and let's make sure that works, because that wasn't too hard. So, where's the gun at? The gun is right here. Pick it up, Q. There's one. One's down. Alright, where's the other one? Oh, we're hunting Caesar, baby. Alright, cool. Alright, so there is going to be an error because it's trying to call them on the enemy list. So let's go ahead and handle this enemy list part now. So when they do die, we want to make a whole function in the alien. So let's go into the alien blueprint, third person blueprint, and oh no, it's character, sorry, alien in the blueprint. Alright, so let's make something that happens that every time they die, so when dead is true, you know, we'll make a death function basically. I think that's the best way to go about this, death. So, get your dead, and when it is true, we just want to pull out a branch and check if dead is true or not. Because if dead is true, then what we want to do is get our player reference. So we have a player reference here. So let's get that. And then off the player, we can say HUD reference. So get HUD reference. And then off of that, we can get enemy, it should be like, I think it's enemy list or something like that. We called it, yes, enemy list. Alright, once we get our enemy list, what we will do is we're going to remove child. So drag off your enemy list and say remove child. Now, plug in your target to true. And then plug in the content. We need this to be the enemy UI that we have made in our enemy. So it's right here. And we already made that a few episodes ago. Plug that in, continue. Now what should happen is every time they die, we'll call this death function. So every time they die, that would be in the laser. So third person, blueprints, bullets, enemy laser. So when it says set dead to true, then we'll call that function that we just made, and then we'll destroy the actor so that their widget disappears off of our screen. So let's say set dead to true, death. That's what we called it, death. And then destroy the actor. Bow. Pile, save. Alright, so let's check this out now. This should be working perfectly, and then we'll work on the sword, and then we'll be done. So the gun. Let's get the gun, equip the gun, got the gun. Now let's hunt these mans down. Oh shoot, they got me first. Darn, guys, I'm supposed to be the developer. I'm not supposed to lose. Alright, it disappeared. Dang. Either way, I'm not about to sit here and play and keep losing this. I need to fix her gun anyways so that she can aim right. But it worked. Like their stuff disappears after we call their death function. So that's good. Now, what we need to do is go into this sword, and we can work on that. So, third person character, let's go to their hand sword. That's what we want. And let's make it visible for now. We'll make it invisible in a second. But let's put a box collision on it. So, add a box collision. Now this box collision should fit the tip of your sword or wherever you want to apply damage from. So mine's going to be about right there. And I'm going to go and fix the box extents so I don't mess up anything. Let's do the Y a little bit. And let's do, I think that's a Z, but cool. So for this box, this is what's going to give damage to the enemy. So what we need to do in the event graph, while that box is selected, we can say on begin overlap, on component begin overlap. Right. And what we need to do is make up a new variable. So the new variable is like maybe attacking or something like that. Swinging sword. I'm gonna call mine attacking. Question mark. And it could be a boolean. So if that variable is true, then we want to fire off the rest of this code. But if not, we don't want anything to happen. So the other actor, we need to get the alien. So cast to your alien on the true. And if that alien, we need to get the health now. So if it overlaps the alien, how much do you want the sword to take off? Let's make the sword, since it's like a sword, do like 50. So minus, oops, really we need to get their health. So get current health, and then we minus 50. And then we're going to set the current health to that health. And then plug that in. And then we need to do the branch check. So if this health is less than or equal to 0, then plug that into your branch, plug that in. We need to say that the alien is dead. Remember we set up their death function? But we can set their current health. So first set current health to 0, and then set or call the dead or death. And then after that we can destroy the actor, which is going to be the alien. Cool. One thing that we need to put in here is a do once. But really we don't, because we got this attacking on. So as long as they're attacking, then this will happen. If they're not attacking, it won't happen. So in order for that to work correctly, in the player, the third person character's attack, what we need to do is set up, alright, so when they press the button and the sword is equipped, this is when we need to set attacking. So set attacking after true, and set that to true. Plug it in. And then right after they're finished, when it sets the movement mode back into walking, then we're going to set attacking back to false. So that way, every time she's swinging the sword, attacking is going to be true. When she stops swinging it, it's going to be false. And anytime attacking is true, and it overlaps the aliens, then they should take some damage and they should get ready to die. So we'll test that out, and that should be it for this video. We're giving damage to these aliens like they deserve. Well, one thing I didn't do, I didn't turn back off the visibility. So my viewport, her hand sword, turn the visibility back off. Oops. There we go. Compile, save. Now let's test it out. Let's get the sword, bring it out. Alright, cool. Nice. Cool. The only thing is the death function is a little bit janky here, and let's see why. Alright, a few more tweaks to make it work right. So, after the sword overlaps the alien, we don't want the alien to do anything if it's dead. So we never set them to be dead. So that's what the problem was. So first of all, let's put a branch here. And then drag off the alien and say dead. And if they already are dead, we don't want any of this to happen. We only want this to happen if they're not dead. So, hook up the condition dead, and then off the false, we'll hook the rest of it up. Because if they are dead, everything should just stop at that point. But then, also, we need to set dead right here before the death. So if we can set the dead, then the death function will work correctly. So, set dead right here, and we need to set it to true. Compile and save. One more other thing that we can do is a do once, because we only want this to happen one time. So once they swing it, only once. So do once right here, and put it there and there. Compile and save. And reset, we need to reset it because if she swings again, it'll reset. So after reset, we should be hooked up to like her swing. So let's try see if we can get something up here. So set attacking back to false, and then after this, really, it would reset. But let's just make a function, a custom function that does that, so we don't have to play with all them lines. So for the reset, let's just make a custom function, custom event called reset sword damage, and plug that right into the reset. And where will we call that? We'll call that right up here at the top, right after she finishes swinging. So let's say reset sword damage. And let me double check and make sure that's going to do what I want it to do. It's going to reset the sword damage, and then it's going to take the current health minus 50. Yeah, it's going to do exactly what we need to do on the next swing. So that's kind of cool. Let's see if that works. Save, and then I'll end the video. I know this was long, but this is it. Damn, I made my AI a little bit too OP. Whoa, he got sent way up here. What in the world happened there? Okay, everything works perfect. Like, alright, so if you wanted to get yours mad special, you could put particle effects and sounds and all this extra stuff, but we've already gone through how to do that. So you can go ahead and add that to your enemy. I'll probably add that to my enemy when I'm polishing up the game. But I'm glad that we finally finished this enemy series. We're done. Everything works correctly. The enemy can shoot at us, we can shoot at them, we can hit them with the sword. Now what we can do is place these enemies all throughout our level and have fun. I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Peace. Hey!